kids. And I hope everyone's doing well today. So today's lesson is really about evaluating a persuasive essay, and this is basically what your test is going to look like, all right? You're going to have an article, you're going to have to find the claim, you're going to have to figure out the evidence, you're going to have to figure out, what is this all about, and should we even believe it or not? So today's reading, and I apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. Lewis, you need to be quiet. I'm not going to play with you right now. He's a little hyper. So today we're going to be focusing on wind power. So this is a little bit of a switch from the killer whale debate, which we finished yesterday. But this is still in the same vein as environment and taking care of, the world, the earth that we have. So a little bit of background. There are several different types of power that we can get, if you remember. So, of course, we have our fossil fuels. We've got wind power. We can get, power from the sun, using solar power. There's geothermal power where we use heat from the earth. And of course there's water, if you think about mills and things, they've used water for centuries to have power. So this is just one example of a way that we can move away from fossil fuels. So it's called The Case for Wind Power by Scott Shears. And over on the right side, you're going to see some words that I have defined. I have a couple of pictures there for you so you can kind of see some pictures of wind turbines if you've never seen one before. At the end, there are 4 questions, if I'm remembering correctly, and a little bit of writing that you have to do. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to start reading. You can pause this video wherever you'd like, so that way you can, read along with me. Here we go. As the world's population grows, so does the need for energy resources. The fossil fuels we have long relied on are both destructive and finite. Finite meaning we have a limited amount, like we're not making any more. Burning coal, oil, and natural gas releases carbon into the air, trapping more of the sun's heat in our atmosphere. Hopefully you remember from science those greenhouse gases, right? That cause our sun to heat up our atmosphere. And mining these resources is becoming more costly. Already, it is becoming harder to reach remaining resources. And eventually, even those will run out. When the world's energy needs rise, while its access to fuel falls, there will be a crisis. One only made worse by the effects of climate change, or, some people have called it global warming. The most practical solution is to replace these harmful limited fuels with ones that are safe and limitless. That is why the U.S. government should fund research and development of wind power, a clean and renewable resource. And these efforts should begin now. So you should be asking yourself, even after that first paragraph, what is the argument that the author is trying to make? What are they trying to convince us to believe in or do? Paragraph number 2. The vast majority of electricity we use comes from power plants that run on fossil fuels. Burning these fuels turns the massive turbines and generate electricity. It also releases greenhouse gases into the air. These gases are considered to be a major contributor to global warming. The steady rise in the average atmospheric temperature of the planet will eventually result in the melting of glacial ice, the rise of ocean levels, and the shifting of climates. So we already know that some of this is already happening. We've read about polar bears, that their ice is melting and so they're losing their habitat. We've read about the rise in ocean levels, causing areas of our land to disappear. And of course, the shifting in climates, meaning that we're seeing the temperatures fluctuate, not necessarily going up, but changing in a way that we haven't seen before. Paragraph 3. Wind power, in contrast, produces electricity without pollution. Wind turbines look and act like a common pinwheel. See the picture above. Only on a much larger scale. They can be as tall as a 20-story building and have blades 200 feet long. The blades catch the wind, which turns a generator that produces electricity. This type of energy production burns no fuel, generates no emissions, and causes no harm to the environment. Additionally, wind power is a renewable resource that will never run out. Wind farms can stretch for hundreds of square miles and contain hundreds of individual turbines. A vast plain dotted with these elegant white machines is an impressive sight to behold. With additional government funding for research, turbine technology will become more efficient or effective in producing more electricity with less wind power. Paragraph 4. Critics, or people who don't want wind power or don't like wind power for whatever reason, critics of wind power maintain that the infrastructure it requires is not feasible, meaning we can't do it. Wind blows the strongest in open areas where tall buildings cannot block the currents, so basically not cities. So wind farms must be built far away from the urban areas that need the power most. Hundreds of miles of costly new transmission lines would be required to connect the wind farms to existing electrical storage facilities. Critics say this expense, in addition to building the farms in the first place, is too great for the government to support. So again, since we're seeing this word critics here, this is probably the counter claim. So pointing out where our claim might be false. Paragraph 5. But not every city needs to draw its wind power from so far away. In recent years, coastal cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York City have considered constructing offshore wind farms. See the picture below. These cities require massive electrical resources, making wind power an attractive possibility. Wind blows harder offshore, which can translate into more power. Also, offshore winds blow strongly during the afternoon hours when energy consumption is at its peak. Constructing offshore wind farms and new transmission lines will be expensive, but this investment will surely pay off in the long run. Over time, drilling and mining for oil and coal will become more costly, but wind power is always free. Paragraph 6. Another charge critics level is that wind power is unreliable. As they point out, the weather is unpredictable. Winds do not blow at consistent or regular speeds, and sometimes they do not blow at all. In order to prevent power outages, backup power plants burning fossil fuels must be ready to kick in when the air is still. But backup power plants would only operate occasionally, contributing far less pollution than the ones in use today. And the development of storage batteries to build up these power reserves to be used when winds are low would further reduce the use of fossil fuels. One such battery will be part of a new wind power installation in Hawaii. Officials there plan to generate 70% of their state's power needs from renewable resources. Wind power is the most practical solution to our nation's power needs. It draws on the endless blowing of the wind, so it will never run out. It creates no pollution, so it will not foul the air or contribute to global warming. And as it replaces fossil fuel power, it will reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Our government can make this change happen more quickly by investing in wind power. It's time for America to face the future and the undeniable part wind power will play. So, be thinking, obviously our topic is wind power and wind turbines. So you need to be thinking, what does the author believe, or what are they arguing about wind power? What are they trying to argue for or against with wind power? Because that, once you come to the answer of that question, you'll have your claim, and then you can answer question number 1. Which statement best expresses the author's claim about wind power? You've got A, climate change can be reversed by switching from fossil fuels to wind power. B, wind power is better than or superior to fossil fuels because it's cheaper than drilling or mining. C, wind power will be expensive to adopt and will not be a reliable energy source. The government should invest in wind power because it is clean and renewable. So which one is the author trying to get us to believe in or do? What are they telling us that we should believe about wind power? And when you are answering your question, you'll either highlight, so we'll just say it's, remember to highlight, you click on this little icon up here and you choose your color. If you want to bold, you could underline, italicize, whatever you need to do to indicate your answer to me, okay? Number 2, Which sentence from the essay best supports the author's claim that wind power will reduce the release of greenhouse gases? So we're looking for a way that wind power would not be releasing greenhouse gases or reducing greenhouse gases. So we've got A, wind farms can stretch for hundreds of square miles and contain hundreds of individual turbines. B, this type of energy production burns no fuel, generates no emissions, and causes no harm to the environment. B, over time, drilling and mining for coal will become more costly, but wind power is always free. D, the backup power plants would only operate occasionally, producing far less pollution than the ones in use today. So focus on the answer that really shows that wind power is not going to release greenhouse gases and is going to reduce our need for the greenhouse gases being released by fossil fuels. Okay, number 3. Which piece of evidence from the text is not, focus on that word, not relevant to the author's claim? Now remember, relevant means it's not connected to or about the author's claim. So you're looking for something that has nothing at all to do with the author's claim. So you've got A, wind power in contrast produces electricity without pollution. B, in addition, wind power is a renewable resource that will never run out. C, a vast plain dotted with these elegant white machines is an impressive sight to behold. Or D, constructing offshore wind farms and new transmission lines will be expensive, but it is an investment that will surely pay off in the long run. So which one does not have anything to do with the author's claim about wind power? Now for your final question, this one is the most tricky, as of course we always save the most difficult for last. So you've got 3 claims here that we can make based on reading the article. So you could essentially make any one of these claims. What I want you to do, this is part A, so this is the first thing you need to do. I want you to highlight, bold, or underline the claim that you think is supported by the most relevant, meaning the most connected information, and sufficient, meaning there is enough facts to support it. Okay, so we've got wind power is reliable, meaning you can depend on it to not fail. It can be trusted. Wind power is affordable, meaning it can be paid for easily. And then finally, wind power is ecological, meaning it is good for the environment and the planet, which is the most relevant and has the most sufficient facts in the article to support it. And then finally, part B, right, I want you to write a short paragraph with at least 3 details from the article in your own words that show to show that the claim you chose has the most relevant and sufficient facts. And you are probably going to need about 5 sentences. Okay, and you can delete this and then begin typing. Alright guys, so this is basically a review for the skills for our test. So that for the test, you're going to have to read a couple of articles, and then you will, of course, answer some multiple choice questions and things like that. And I'll be doing a review of all of our skills tomorrow, and on Thursday we'll have like a little fun review activity. Okay, I hope everybody is doing well, and let me know if you need any help at all. You can reach me from my Google Voice number, you can email me, you can text me, you can use Remind, Class Dojo, whatever you need to do to get into contact me if you need help. If you need to make a conference with me or video chat with me, please let me know and we can set that up. Alright guys, be safe out there, wash your hands, bye!